Hey everyone, my name is Scott and I'm an alcoholic. Um, Today I'm going to talk about something controversial, and I know a lot of people don't like to hear of this subject, and I understand that. I didn't like to hear it for the longest time either. Um, but I feel it's necessary to um, talk about parts of my recovery um, that are vital to it, really. So, I'm gonna talk about my experience with God, how it got there, and how I look at God, what my perception of God is, I suppose. And yeah. So to start off, for most of my life, I was an agnostic or atheist, if you will, aggressively so. I combated the very idea of God mainly because of organized religion. I saw the control it had over people. You know, with a person like me, I find the faults and defects of anything I can so that I can look at it in that kind of light and not make myself seem better, but also to have that perception that I'm not as bad as them. I'm just like any other human being. It's easier to live life that way, or I thought it was easier to live that life, but it's not. And a lot of pain and turmoil comes with that to a person like me. So, um, for most of my life, I disregarded the idea of God, religious or not, spiritual or not. Um, March 14th this year, 2019, I had um, probably one of the most important experiences of my life, and I didn't see it coming. I was going crazy. Things not just were not going my way, but also I was in emotional turmoil. Um, and my mind was going through the paces. I was feeling every negative human emotion you probably could possibly experience. Um, and as I was pacing around the house, suddenly I was hit, struck, whatever you want to call it, by it was a flash of this overwhelming sense of of everything, of love and of my experience of God. It was just it was like it was like finally understanding everything, finally seeing that there was nothing wrong with me or this world or existence itself. And not that everything would be okay, but everything is okay the way it's supposed to be. I've never had this kind of experience before. There's nothing to compare it to. It was so deep that I just felt that overwhelming presence. It wasn't like God spoke to me. It wasn't like I saw God. It was finally an experience that touched me, and I knew what it was. I knew at that point because beforehand, in my early recovery at a treatment center, you know, they talked about God. Um, you know, in those rooms where drunks like to talk, they talk about God. And to be honest, I didn't refute the idea so much. I figured I would have battled that idea for a long time. But honestly, I saw where my life was going. I was in such a desolate place that there was no other option to me. So I kind of just took it with a grain of salt and went along. And I did that for quite some time. I don't know if I would say I believed or not, but eventually I did come to terms that, I there probably is something out there, whatever it is. And I'll never be able to explain it or give anyone the experience that I had, or a reasonable, logical way of telling people, because it's so illogical. It's absolutely illogical. And uh, so March 14th, I had that experience of God. It took me to my knees, and ever since then, I've known. I've known that there is some kind of creative force out there, a spirit of the universe. There's an energy of everything, of unity, of all things. And um, so, of course, I read into it. I study it. Whenever I have this experience, because when I try to connect with this power, I always have that sense of God, or the spirit of the universe being there. I get this elation in me. So I know it's there. I know it's this real thing that cannot be described or explained away. And I've had several experiences since then, but one of the things that always interests me are some of the laws of physics, the laws of the universe, which holds this thing into place. Some of them kind of give away the idea of God. There's energy that's created in this universe, and all energy that is created is never destroyed. It's never destroyed. It doesn't die. It's transferred into some other matter, or light, or whatever it is. Death, when we die, we are transferred into this world to something else. We become something else. That's a law of the universe. That's unexplainable. Why does energy not die? And where does all this energy go? And where did it start from? This little tiny thing in the very beginning, before time and space was even existed. So, and then along with that, I think about consciousness, conscious awareness. As far as we know, it's completely different than 99.9999% of the universe, where life is a biological anomaly. That's exactly what it is. It's a biological anomaly. Not life itself, but awareness. And some people have more awareness than others, and they get awakened to this thing, and you see it, and you hear it in their words, and you see it in their actions throughout life. Once they have that, whatever experience they had, they suddenly change, and they come to a realization that what we perceive as life is not a normal thing. After I went through that, I finally found that that's God in its own way as well. I think it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because if I wasn't able to believe in something that's higher than myself, that there's a purpose or a meaning, not just to my life, but all of this too, I get depressed, I get nihilistic, and I get bitter, I get frustrated with how things are. But when I'm reminded, it's worth more than gold, all the gold in the world. It's worse than that first love that we experience. It's just like that, and it's inexpendable. So those were my thoughts tonight. It's been a while since I made a video, and I just wanted to talk about that. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I make another video pretty soon. I've been slacking with that, so I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for listening.